Hello, I'm Robin, and I'm thrilled to introduce you to the Molten Bypass. Bypass, 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 bypass. The Molten Bypass is a CV controllable, bypassable effects loop. It's a bypass. Got a load of things happening? Things are not happening anymore. Or perhaps more interestingly, you've got nothing happening at all, and then suddenly everything is happening. Confused but curious? Yes. Let me bring you in and I will reveal everything. The Molten Bypass, a ridiculously simple module with some very, very cunning little twists and turns to bring a little bit of spice to your Eurorack. The idea was prompted by my utter amazement that Eurorack effects modules, like this one here, don't have a bypass. There's no bypass. It's like it's not even a thing. There's no bypass. You can turn it up, you can turn it down, but there's no bypass. And so I thought, bypasses are really useful. We use them all the time. It's a defining factor of an effects box is its ability to be bypassed. So I thought, right, I'm going to come up with my own. And so I spoke to Bafako, we got together, had a few beers and came up with the Molten Bypass. Let me show you how it works. So we take a source, sound source, plug that in the top. In the middle here, we're going to go send and return to an effects box. To effects. In this case, we're going to be using the Vino Echo. And then the output goes into the from effects. Like so. This is our effects loop. Do you see how loopy that is? It's an effects loop. Oh yes it is. There, going through here, back in. And then we need to be able to hear it, so we plug the resultant output into there. Now there's the surface, we can hear that, it's coming through, it's currently bypassed. And so we're not experiencing the effects loop. All we need to do is to turn it on. And then when we've had enough of the effect, we can turn it off. Turn it on. Turn it off. That's it. No, that's not that's it. That's not quite it. That's not all of it. But that is the main part of it. That simplicity of being able to turn something on and turn it off. Now it's called Molten Bypass, but you'll notice that the button is called Launch. Now that's because all the most interesting stuff happens when you press the button. So it's actually the unbypassing that's more interesting than the bypassing. And so we thought, well, let's call it Launch. Alright, so then what makes this more interesting than just turning something on and turning something off? Well, first of all, you've got hard and soft bypass. Now, hard bypass is what we've been experiencing so far. It's on, it's off. It's on, it's off. With soft bypass, it allows the tails and the repeats and the taps and all the other business that happened in the effects box continue through without letting more signal to it. So if I turn it on, we can hear the repeats. If I now bypass it, those repeats continue until they fade. Next down is the FX gain knob. Now this allows us to balance the output of effects, because so often, I don't know if you find this, but Eurorack effects modules tend to steal a little bit of your level, particularly when you're mixing the wet and dry. You tend to lose a little bit, and so this allows you to boost things up, or if you're using distortion or some other drive and overdrive type effect, it allows you to turn it down so it's not unbalanced from what's going through. So you've got sort of a zero unity coming through of your signal, and then you want to be able to match that with what's coming through from the effects loop. Like so. This is working as an insert. It's not a send effect, so you are not mixing here with the affected signal and the signal coming through. What you are doing here is setting the level of all the signal coming back from the module. So your signal is going out to the effect, being mixed in the effect with your wet dry mix knob, and then all of it is coming back into here and carrying on. So this is the overall volume of the entire signal, not a mix between the two. Next you've got a choice between gate or latch. If you put it to latch, it turns on, turns off. Non-bypass, bypass. Put it to gate, you can tap it on, so it's only momentarily on. But that gets interesting once you start pumping gates into it from other places. And this, of course, is CV controllable. Doesn't have to be a single effect, you can put through as many as you like. So let's wire in the echo cinematic while we're here. I just love how that signal sort of emerges out of the effects. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now it's a stereo device, as you can see, but it's also 2 channels of mono. So I can actually plug these into different sides in order to get a little bit more craziness going on. Am I confused? Yes, no, I think I am. I think I'm totally confused, so let's go to there. Now the Molten bypass is also DC coupled, which means I can take modulation through here as well as audio. And because I have essentially 2 channels, I'm going to keep the bassline running on this channel, and I can put some modulation through on this side, showing you how you can get twice the fun out of the one module with the one button and the one bypass and the one launch. So I'm going to run this through the Vino Echo over here. Into out. So I'm going to take an LFO from the Batumi, stick that in the top. Then I'm going to route that directly to the filter by taking it from the bottom. That's fine. I've got a modulation coming through, going out, modulating the filter. That's fine. But the magic of the Molten bypass is that I can introduce another modulator, which on the press of a button gets folded in to the existing one to give us something extra and different. So to do that, I'm going to take this that's coming in out through the Molten motion meter here to mix it with another modulator and jam it back in, so that when the switch is pushed, we get the different modulation. So I go to channel 1 there, channel 2 has got a different modulator coming in, which you can see there. So then we need to take the output from the Molten motion meter, plug that back in. So now when I hit the button, we're getting these two modulators combined. And we're also getting the delay from the Vino echo. Now I can take a gate output from the sequencer, plug that into there, and if I latch it, it'll turn it on and then turn it off. Okay, just to demonstrate a slightly larger patch, I've got my Pony VCO going through a replicant filter into the Molten bypass at the top here. This is routed through the Barillo Kiobra overdrive distortion what's it module. That is then feeding into this Molten bypass, which is looped to the Milky Way on some kind of reverby kind of thing going on. Now the reverby thing is being triggered or gated, latched rather, by the octone here, sending stuff to it, and then that's turning that on and off, as you can hear. What I'm going to do is send a gate signal to this to turn on the distortion every now and again. I'm going to do that with the play fader. I think I'm going to take the gate output of the second channel, plug that into there. I should then be able to create a gate sequence on this in order to gate that. So the Molten bypass then, what do we think? It's fascinating, totally fascinating, even if I do say so myself. It's been a great little journey working with Bafako with this, starting off with a really simple idea, and then just pushing it and expanding it and swelling it into a few other things, and it's actually become pretty remarkable. I think I'm finding them all turning up all over the place. Oh, I just wanted to do that. I mean, I've used one for quite a while. For probably about 6 months, I've dropped one into a case and it started and it's done a thing. And I've had it at EMOMs and bits and pieces, just shimmering in the background, turning things off, turning things on again. And I've found that it could do all sorts of different things I hadn't thought of. And every time I sit down with it, place it in a rack, I go, oh, I could probably do that, and then I can, and then that actually turns into something else that I hadn't intended. And I think that's useful. I mean, ultimately, if it becomes a useful thing to you, then heck, I've done my job, and that would be an extraordinary thing. Now, these are available built for about 125 euros, or as a kit for about 100 euros, more or less. You'll find out depending on where you're buying it from. But it's available now, or you can at very least pre-order it. In fact, if your local shop doesn't have one, then order it through them and insist that they get in at least a dozen, just for you and your friends. Coming up shortly after this video, Divkid has very kindly put one together for us, which is probably going to show it in a completely different light and a different way. This video was just an introduction. I'm going to be doing more videos down the line over time of showing all sorts of things that I've discovered about this little module. Also coming probably tomorrow is a video from Cinematic Laboratories, who just do beautiful videos, and I'm extremely thrilled that Robert is going to do a video on this fella here. So that should be out tomorrow. I will be doing a video on the kit, but I haven't built it yet, so that will be coming along next week, I imagine. So look out for that. Otherwise, later this evening, I will be doing a live stream to answer any questions and to go into more detail about what it's all about, where it came from, and what you could potentially do with it. Or we could just sit and chat and drink beer. Either way works. So from here, head on over to Divkid's channel, and then from there, join me for a live stream at about 8:30. Or if you're seeing this in the future, then go and find it. It will be in the channel. So there you go. Molten bypass. What an idea! What an idea. I hope that was helpful, and in the meantime, go and make some tunes.